Yeah, we're going live. You know how it works. I just wait until we've got a few people on. But I don't like to do that old stud there fucking John Wedges style. I'll just wait until all my fans are on. Yeah, John Wedges to you. Does it look like he's going to burst into fucking tears any minute?
What's going on, mate?
Oh, I've got to say, John Wedges to you. Does it look like he's going to burst into fucking tears any minute? Have you got it happen?
I did. Sorry, man. No more.
I thought it was me, because it usually is.
It was me.
There's nobody here yet. Even though it's 28 people now. Right, we'll go. We'll start. It's a start.
It's a start.
There we go. Thank you very much. I didn't hear a fucking. It's really weird because it starts. It sometimes starts and then it'll stop and then it'll go, and then it'll go. It'll stop again, and then it starts and it speeds itself up to try and get it to where it is, and then obviously runs out of puff and stops again. It's just really weird. Anyway, good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs News this Monday. It's the 2nd of June 2020. What? Tuesday. Tuesday the
Monday. Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
2nd of June. I didn't say that, didn't I? Oh, did I? Oh, Monday was yesterday. Sorry.
No, you said Monday.
That's my wife downstairs fucking listening in and fucking being me some bit. Anyway, good evening. It's Tuesday edition of Raconteurs News. It's the 2nd of June 2020. The fucking world is a complete and utter fucking mess, and we don't know what to do about it. But we keep carrying on with we keep carrying on. Each going. It's been a funny day, to be honest. I've had a couple of bus stops for people. I'd never expected from. Joe Public, he's adamant that I told him and his mate the biggest bunch of fucking pair of tossers that I'd ever fucking spoke to in my life. I don't remember it at all. So that's the end of that. And also this Jason fucking lost bollocks or whatever. Well, is it possible to have a show without the fuck in it? Okay, yeah, okay, we'll do that. We can not swear, can't we? So, what's the fucking hell's been going on? That's the question we're all asking ourselves. We've got Owen Lloyd Martin joining me tonight. Owen's been looking into the stuff that's going on in Minnesota at the moment. Minneapolis, I think it is, isn't it? The answer is no. Sorry, Lion's Share. Well, I won't swear as much as much as I usually do. It's just sometimes I get a little bit, a little bit crazy, I get a little bit out of control, and I can't get my feelings under emotions. Anyway, we've got Owen Lloyd Martin on with us tonight. As I said, he's been looking into the stuff that's going on in Minnesota. So let's get him on. Let's introduce him. You know him. You don't need me to tell you who he is. It's Owen Lloyd Martin, all the way in Portugal. How you doing, my old friend?
I'm not too bad, Jason. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, it's all good here in Portugal. Into week number 3 of out of being locked down. We're allowed now 20 people to congregate in one place.
We're allowed 6.
Say again.
We're allowed 6, but you're not allowed to go around to anybody's house to fuck them. Sorry, to have sex with them. Sorry, Lions. Yeah.
I believe so. I've read that. And I've never heard. Well, we know. You know, I think I think as the show goes on and the things that I want to say is probably along the same lines again, because although I want to talk about what's happened in the States with the riots and everything else, but obviously the main thing that I want to point out with this is that it's, for me, as I was saying to Jason earlier, this is as I feel that the race war is the wave number 2. And the reason I say that is because of obvious differences I've seen in different footages that I've been looking at. Obviously, there's the murder of I can't even get to say his name now.
Floyd.
George, yeah. And there's obviously loads of things that have been on YouTube. So what I've been doing, I've been trying to troll through all that I can just to try and get an overview of it. I've got 1 or 2 clips if we've got time to show them, which I really want to do because I think they're pretty obvious when you see what's going on in the background. But it's in my opinion, it's not all that it's cracked up to be, because for those people that are just tuning in or whatever for the first time, myself personally, I think it's just another false flag as it's termed. So
just give people a bit of a background in case they're not familiar. I know it's difficult to not be familiar with it, but give a bit of a background to this story.
Well, as far as I know, with the story is that George had gone into a particular shop and produced a counterfeit note, of which obviously the shopkeeper was trying to get him to take it back. I believe he was leaving with the goods, and obviously the police were called. Now, I've not seen any footage of that, but the next thing I have seen from that is the footage from outside where the officer has got his knee on the back of George's neck.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I want to just say about the area itself. Was Minneapolis or Minnesota, where the incident happened, is up by the Great Lakes, Lake Superior and all the rest of it on the border of Canada there. And one of the things I have noticed over the time, over the past 48, 72 hours, whatever, is that particular area itself, very little has changed in the way of segregation. And I say that in the way that the housing was developed. It was literally developed for that. I think I've got a little thing here if I can try.
They're called the projects, are they?
The projects, I don't know if it's titled the projects, because in the area itself is that Minnesota is the capital of Minneapolis and St. Paul's, and they call it the two cities. But if you to look at the housing in the area, I don't know if I can get that screen on. If I've done it there, that screen that I gave you, that first screen, Jason. It's just that was just a brief rundown of all the killings of all the Black Americans. But if you break it down once again, I've got another map here that I can show you. Just find it for you. Sorry about that. Give me a second, Jason.
No problem.
It's my first time in doing this whole screen share, so bear with me. That's it.
I know it's hard. I get into trouble for doing it all the time because I'm just rubbish at it.
Yeah, right, okay. Just stop that there. Okay, just go again. Sorry about this, Jason. Trying to get
No worries. No worries. Welcome to Raconteurs News if you're brand new. I know there are a couple of people in the chat room that are new. Hello to you. We're not as bad as we sound, or perhaps you've been told. And perhaps you could give us a thumbs up or even a thumbs down. Just give me a nice feeling in my stomach. I always say that. I've got to stop saying that. Yeah. So we've got Owen Lloyd Martin on. We're talking about the riots that have got, well, not just the riots, but the things leading up to it, and the social situation surrounding these incidents as well, which is look at me trying to put my posh voice on, which is just as important. Right, I've got something else here. Do you want me to stick this one on?
Please. Yes, please. So this one there, I don't know if I'm able to scroll down on the screen there. Can you see the map?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so if you see the map there, if I'm going up here, it gives you actually the breakdown. This is a breakdown of all the killings of the Black people in the area. So if you're looking for the dots, obviously you've got these spread out over here via Texas and California. But the majority of them, the larger the circle, the larger the killings. So this area alone, so this here, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, which is the area we're talking about. So it's a disproportional rate of what, 3.9%. Afro-American population is 5.1%, and the victims is 20% black victims. So going back to it, and the main point that I'm trying to make with it is that for me, with this event going on, and in particular it being a race riot, with there being segregated housing in some places, some public places in what I've seen, 5 states, segregation is still happening. So for me,
it is actually still actively happening. There are places where blacks can't go.
It is, and I mean, in particular in the Minnesota, Minneapolis area, is that this would be the housing or any other social issues that they have has been addressed for years. Like I say, it was addressed in 2015 and nothing was done, and once again in 2018. So going back to my point again, if you're going to look for a place where it's a powder keg ready to go off, and you want to upset a few people, that would be for me a prime area, because obviously things have been building up there, which obviously leads me on to the incident with George and just all the reports and all the things that you've seen on YouTube or wherever else about the killing itself.
But tell us about what do you know about George himself?
From what I know, that his father was a 30 I can't say it, a mason. His dad was a mason. And I believe that he was also, and also the police officer that allegedly killed him was as well. From his family. One of the things I see that Jay Castle, I don't know what the latest theory is. From what I gather, from what I've been reading, because I've spent most of the day today trying to prepare what I'm going to give to you tonight, because like I say, there's been a lot of information for me to go through, a lot of screenshots and lots of videos. There are quite a few. I mean, as far as the story goes, Jason, that's all I know. That virtually what everybody else knows. The thing that's different with me is that from looking at the YouTube videos that I've got, is that there's a lot of there's one particular guy that's doing a video, but the video's from across the street of the incident.
Right. Okay. And
literally in the back, you can't see the other video shot. If you understand what I mean, if from the shot that was taken, where you can see the policeman with his knee on George's neck, there's another camera shot from the other side of the road of the same incident. But you can't see the people that are allegedly filming the incident. So I'm just putting it out there because these are the things that I'm seeing there online.
Have you got any videos of these incidents that we get? This video, because if you've got a YouTube, if you can share a YouTube video as well. So if you put a YouTube, anything that you share, if you play a video, people will be able to hear it and see it. So
no problem. I'm just going to go on to it now.
I'm just putting a few comments up on screen, mate. They're not all questions.
No problem. Just read away and say hello to everybody in the chat room, mate. While I have a look.
So Annie, thanks for this. This is from Annie in Jones. She's listening on Facebook, and we sometimes forget about Facebook, that we've got people watching on Facebook. So hi to you, Annie Jones. She says the system is flawed. I'm assuming it's a she. The system is flawed, broken, corrupt, and outdated, as are the people running it. Government, Freemasons, the Malay puppets of the 1%, all have their heads in the trough of greed. Sorry. The world is being governed and run by paedophiles and their supporters. The 1% are manipulating their own version of the Hunger Games. Conquer and divide is the game. Yeah. Thank you for that, Annie, that I'm watching there on Facebook. Watching from Australia as well. So thank you for watching. Must be a late night viewing over there. So hello to you in Australia. I hope you're doing okay and you're not you're not stuck in and going mad in the lockdown. Have we got something, Lloyd?
Yeah,
Lloyd, why do we keep calling you that? Owen.
Just one of those videos, and this, I don't know if you've seen any of this, but this is one of the guys that made a video whilst being at the protest there. He's a resident, so I'm just going to stick this one on.
Okay.
This right here?
Yeah, they put them
This the setup.
They put them there on purpose,
I know
bro.
what, yeah.
They gonna set them on right up on the rail.
Yeah, I know what building this is
Come
right
on,
here.
now.
I ain't even gonna say what name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do the
This
bricks
is
go
set
to?
up.
Where do the bricks
You gotta
go
do
to?
better.
Ain't no
You gotta do better.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
I see.
Ain't no damn construction around here. You just gonna set a pile of bricks right there. Oh, okay.
Listen, I did jury duty 3 months ago. Y'all don't keep no bricks right there. Do better.
So yeah, there you go. So that's just that was just one of them, but there are. If I just go back a second, there's another one that I can pick up from you, which is yet another person just standing by and filming what's going on. Let me just go to my other screen. I can't find it there. Bear with me for a second. I'll just take that off because I need to locate that. But basically, there was actually a reporter that was stood doing a news report, and he was just panning around, and then there was a helicopter shot. So he panned to the helicopter, and literally he came back down again, and there was the policeman. I think a lot of posts have been shown on Facebook about a white man, and I use the term because that's the term that was used in the press, that was smashing the windows at a particular store. So that video was captured, and you got that from 2 angles as well.
Yeah, wasn't one of the angles filmed by his sister?
Apparently so, but as far as I'm aware, that he moved. His family don't live in that area. He moved to Minnesota for work some time ago, working as a security guard. And one of the other things that's floating about on the internet, which just shows, you know, the things you can and can't believe. I don't know because I've never researched it, but apparently both himself, George, and the policeman were involved in porn movies, Pornhub, and all the rest of it. Apparently there were screenshots going about. Now, I know from myself looking on Facebook recently, on YouTube in particular, there's a guy going around showing this new app that you can get for Android phones, where you can morph your face onto a moving picture and vice versa. So there's all things like that people can manipulate. And this is why I'm not, you know, a supporter of anything. I just want to look at everything that's going on to make my own mind up. So that's all I'm really doing tonight. I'm not really giving my opinion of it. It's just what I'm observing. You know, my opinions are there. Everybody can make their own minds up. All these videos are there for people to have a look at on YouTube if they're not already taken up, because there has been quite a few been taken up. Sorry.
Something you said to me before we went on air made me sit up and take notice, and that was, you said that a lot of the state, or some of the states, haven't even outlawed what do you call it, where you know, segregation.
It's not the fact that they're in plain sight, Jason. What it is that they haven't taken them out of, let's say, council rule that they have over there. If they have certain policies, if they've had certain policies going back from the days of segregation, let's say, there are things that are still in place that haven't been written out. It's not as if they've been strongly used, but they are there for people to see. You know, if you go to particular places, you will come up against it. But what I am saying is, as I said earlier on, 2015, 2018, they tried to get these things taken out, and it was never addressed. So, I mean, that's the whole reason why I wanted to have a look at it more closely, because as I know, if you look, also one of the other pictures that's floating around now is that the policeman himself was seen at Sandy Hook and also the Boston bombings. So
yeah, I thought that were a bit flaky. I thought that evidence were probably a little bit flaky. I couldn't actually see much of a resemblance.
Right. I mean, yeah, like I say, I mean, everything that's floating about there. I think that's what the trouble is now with this distraction, because that's what it is really. Because at the end of the day, we are still, you know, confined, and you can only do certain things. it's one of those, isn't it? You're getting all these things floating about, and it's like one of the listeners said earlier, one of the viewers said earlier, is that it is a divide and conquer thing. And I think that if you look at the whole virus issue, is that it was losing its momentum. In my eyes, it was losing its momentum because more and more information was coming out.
Yeah.
So for me, for this to continue, or for the control to continue, there has to be a situation, an incident to keep it going. And I mentioned to a couple of friends last week. I was saying round about the 20th or something like that. But I said that there has to be something, because this is everything seems to be changing, but not in the way that they want it. And then next minute, we're presented with this, which is shown worldwide. For me, normally when you get incidents, it takes a few days for this to escalate. And I think it was only hours old before it was televised, wasn't it? Obviously.
Yeah, there's another thing as well. I mean, there's people sat at home in lockdown, like we have been here in the UK, and as they have been in America. Now, perhaps this has just given them something to watch on TV to keep them in house, to take their mind off lockdown. When there's stuff like this going on and it's 24/7 coverage, you know what it's like in the States. They'll have helicopters and anything above. So it's perhaps some entertainment that to keep the masses occupied while this lockdown's still on. It just came into my head. I don't know no other reason than that.
It's funny because with all the stuff that I've been looking at, for me it stinks of just another control move, another Psyop, because we are in a crucial time. Forget about what's going on. I think that's the sad thing about it, is that this has been my view once again. This has been put there as a deflection, because at the end of the day, it's a question why we're locked down and why are the tests stronger and why are you giving us misinformation. So I just think for me, and that's what got me looking at it, Jason. When I said the other day, I picked, I just couldn't stop, because for me it wasn't right. A lot of the videos that have been shown around, I'll try and find one again on my YouTube page, is that you can see that there are some riots that are going off, or not riots, I ignore that, protests, where the peaceful protests and people are actually sat down. Yeah. And they are being quiet about it. And just earlier on, I was watching another, in fact, it was a live video, and that was coming straight from the US, and it was a guy just basically walking down the high street, but every other guy, and this is not military, martial law, police, no nothing, every other guy was, in the bulletproof vests and, at least 2 sidearms and a semi-automatic, and saying that, they're not going to just let them come to our streets. But for me, once again, that's looking at that situation alone, is that if the powers that be want to have that control, yes, they are protecting their own businesses and livelihoods, but for me, it's the whole martial law thing. I think the US, it's 7 p.m. and then they're in lockdown. Thanks, Jimmy. That's it. I know. Yeah, it was murder, full stop. And I'm not denying that anybody wasn't killed, because we know with other events that have happened, innocent people have been killed. So I'm not saying that false flags, that nobody dies. I'm not saying that in the slightest, because we know that this has happened in the past. But there's too many, for me, is that there's too many coincidences that's going on, Jason, for me not to ignore it. I think they've used race, as they have done for years, and once again, that was said earlier on, which is just to divide and conquer. And I, for one, and just sick of it now. I'm just sick of the narrative. I've fallen out with I've actually fallen out with a cousin who I've only just recently met over the said situation. You can't get into his head how I'm not. He can't get into his head how I'm not remorseful. So it's not that I'm not remorseful; it's that I'm still finding out what's going on. Who do I be remorseful with? Because there's so many.
Listen, you don't know this guy. You don't know
exactly that. Exactly that. And it's just something. It's just something. Like Denny was saying earlier on. Say it how you like, mate. I do. Yeah, it's right. A person was killed. A person was executed. was a couple of bits floating about last week about it actually being a snuff movie, which if you look into, you know, satanic rituals and all the rest of it, that's all part of it. And that's where people link the connection, the Masonic connection, you see, with both the opposite and George. So there's loads of information that's floating around there that I just picked out and just wanted to, because obviously it's not really the kind of stuff I normally talk about. What about his hands?
There's a question from Nubian.
I don't understand that question.
I don't either. That's why I just
the policeman.
I thought you might know. Someone did put something in the chat room earlier on about the guy who was going, the umbrella guy. If I just say umbrella guy, you'll if you've been looking at this, you will definitely have seen him.
That was the one that I was going to say. That was the one that was being filmed that I've got two angles of, because I saved that on Facebook. I've got a Facebook video saver. I don't know how to do that via here. The policeman kept his left hand in his pocket, so I believe that's some sort of Masonic. Cheers for that, Mel. Yeah, that's a Masonic symbol. Thank you, Mel. Cheers. I'm getting that in there from my friend Mel that's obviously watching in there. But yeah, also like I was saying, I think there was the 32 or 320, which was the number on the back of the police car there. All those have been conflicting things on Facebook, on YouTube rather, about the cars changing. But what I think that is simply a camera angle change. And what I will say, going back to the video that was taken from across the street facing the car, the difference with that footage, once again, which obviously leads to more suspicion, is that you couldn't really make out the police officers. It was very pixelated or blurred.
Right.
But it was obviously the same street scene, the same place, but the officers were blurred out. And this, once again, for even with myself and searching through the things that I've had a look at over the past few days, you have to question them because of the technology that we have ourselves, even via mobile phones, that things can be doctored straight away. So, like I say, I've had a few late nights just trolling through stuff and trying to get my best view of what I can, so I'm able to, you know, do my best to speak about it. You know, it's not a subject that, like I say, I generally follow, but because once again, racial hatred, you know, it's raising its ugly head again. It's that. I'm just reading the comment there from Annie.
Yeah, all governments are Freemasons. Demole. I don't know what that means. I think somebody said that's the black version of the Freemasons. I don't know. Is or not.
Could well be. Could well be. I mean, I was noticing it was the autopsy, apparently, and it was either the solicitor of the family was making his speech, but you could see the way he was stood behind a plinth, and I'll just stand a little. But you could see that he was resting his hands, and he was resting his hands all the time, and you never got a close-up. If anybody can see that, he's got a badge on his lapel, which I couldn't see. Yes, they were. They did a bit. I thought they looked like police because it did look really strange, because when they was leading over George, the methodology and the way they was attempting to see George just didn't seem as fluid as a paramedic would. Yeah, sorry, just the way that the paramedics or the alleged paramedic dealt with George on the floor, it didn't seem fluid. They didn't seem to know whether they were going to step in, which I know a paramedic wouldn't do. A paramedic would go in and take control and try and resuscitate the person. I think I've gone again, because you keep freeze framing me, Jason, or you just keeping still.
Well, I don't know. I keep getting you coming in and out. We'll soldier on, I think, as long as we can still communicate in some form. It seems to be getting better. Now, I wanted to ask: has any CCTV emerged of this incident, or have the protesters smashed it all up and fucking? Because that's probably what they'd say about it. No CCTV at all.
I can't find any at all because that's one of the things that I wanted to look for. Because for me, the amount of news stories that picked it up in the US, surely they would have the sense and the knowledge to think, right then, where we're going to get some really good footage, and it would be surveillance cameras in what was a built-up area. But no, once again, you got to look then on the side of the false flag side, and I'm going to use a reference of well, most of them really. If you look at a lot of the events that have gone on, where there's clearly been CCTV in the area, and then when all the reports come off, is that there was under maintenance that day or something else. So you're never gonna get that footage. Now, for me, and I don't know about anybody else, it raises a suspicion, is that a vital piece of evidence goes missing.
Yeah.
It's just not right. So yeah, like I say, I've had a look around as many sites as I can to find anything, and there's nothing there. If anybody else can find anything out of there, but that's it. I mean, looking. I think I was watching the Trump speech about him going after Antifa and all the rest of it, and me obviously wanting to have a look at their background as well, because we know that there are people, let's say, that will pay or pay people quite handsomely for protesting. There's another instance where there's a guy walking up to, I think there's about 3 or 4 black youths, and he's actually paying them off and saying, right, you need to go down there and don't forget to find this table, whatever else. So once again, you're seeing things like that, and like I say with the video that I saw earlier on, that it was pointing out that you clearly saw the people that were organising the looters that were dressed in the black and white, and then you had the people that were dressed in red that were clearly directing them and keeping a lookout. So for me, you're not going to get, how are these people, how are all these people that have turned up doing this rioting and the looting can be in the same, everybody at the different cities in the States, how can they possibly, know that they're all going to go out and they're all going to be wearing black, white and red? And this is what's been happening all the way through this whole thing, is when people have found out that there's lots and lots of coincidences, and these coincidences do match up, I'm afraid. You've got to look at the individual cities and see that, you have your individual people directing other people to go in there. So that's organised. That's not people that have just gone out last minute and decided to do something. That's definitely organised. So you've got to ask the question then.
Have we got any film footage of that? Any of these Antifa sort of...
I can see if I can try and find it on the old YouTube.
Alice Georgeson says Trump has listed Antifa as a terrorist organisation, but what about the KKK? I mean,
that's a valid point.
It is a valid point. It is. I don't think that because he's not. Look, it's not my country. It's not. I don't live there. But yeah, it is a valid point. If you're going to have one side. If you're going to have, they're all bad guys, aren't they? So they all need to be terrorists. Go on. Have you found out? No.
Jason?
Yes.
Am I there?
Yes, I'm here.
I have the video ready.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I'm fucking miles away.
Seen all the signs, I've seen all the signs. They've been telling lies, they've been telling lies. Watching how I move, watching how I move. I've been keeping track now. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for the wanna take what's mine. They busy faking.
Can't hear it if your mic is muted. Can't hear it, mate. Your mic's muted.
I know my mic's muted, Jason.
Yeah, we couldn't hear it, mate, though.
You-
We can't hear it. When your mic's muted, we can't hear the video. Your mic's muted, mate. Still can't hear it.
Sorry. Yeah,
There you
as I
go.
was saying, sorry guys. Yeah, I probably hear it in the video that I was just watching there. But literally, I mean, it was all from what you could see. From what you could see there, I mean, it's shown different malls or different places where people were dressed in black and white and the red. And it was obviously the people that were dressed in the red that was directing these people and doing the watch out. And obviously, and people were wearing the black and white that were doing the looting, and that was from, you know, city to city. So that's, as I'm saying, that's organised. That has nothing to do with the death of George and everything else. I mean, there were other videos that were flying around of people going into the malls and just heading for the Gucci stores. You know, other videos floating around. There was one particular one which I'm on the fence whether I believe that one or not. But there was actually a black woman that was running away from a store with a load of goods in her hand. And she was being filmed, and the guy was actually saying to her, "You're not from around here. You're not from around here." And she would say, "Yeah, I know I'm not from around here. I don't give a f about George. I'm just here for the stuff." And got in the car and just drove off. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on there. And what I think it is as well is that the point I'm trying to make with it is that we're being thrown all this. That's from what's really going on. But you know, obviously, the race issue does need addressing. So in a sense, it's a good time to do it, to have this thing addressed in some sort of a way. Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is doing that, but as with the states, the particular states, as I said, that you know, I think there's 5 states that still haven't taken these segregation laws off their books, let's say. That would be a step to at least some sort of harmony within the black states. Sorry.
No, I was just saying
Sorry,
they've not been repealed. These have I gone all frozen again?
No, you're fine. No, you're all good.
Right.
You're good.
Oh dear. Yeah. So, I mean, we've got
Yes. So like I say, I mean,
we've got a situation. We had a. Am I right in thinking that there have been protests in the UK over this as well?
I believe there was a march on what day are we on? Tuesday, Sunday. That was in London, I believe. I haven't really checked anything that's been going on. I know there are other cities in the world that have done the march. We shoot. Is that? So I believe is that a quote from Donald Trump? I think
that's Donald Trump said that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's so. It's. I don't know. It's strange. It's strange watching it really because of what's going on. It's a distraction, as I say. But for me, I don't know. It's quite difficult, really, because I have my whole views on racism, which, you know, I discuss at the right and appropriate time with people. But I just think that using that alone, I mean, there's a screenshot that I have that I'm not able to show you with George Soros, but I can read you what he does say. I'm just going to get it up on my screen and then I can read it to you. So, I'm going to bring down the United States by funding black groups. We'll put them into a mental trap and make them blame white people. The black community is the easiest to manipulate. And that's a statement by George Soros. Now, that has been posted and the fact checkers didn't take it off. So it is a verified from a speech of his. And we do know that he does fund a lot of these demonstrations that go on. And the way that I look at it, it's not the fact, well, it's the fact that for me that Soros has used the issue of race to undermine Trump, because I believe that, he supported, certainly supported Barack Obama, did George Soros. So there's a lot of funding that George Soros is paying out. I think there's one of the videos that's floating around, which I don't have. There's a guy that actually says, you know, I've worked for him, you know, I've received a check for him, I'm recruiting for him, you know. There are numerous amounts of pieces of paper that people have found on the floor, which is their itinerary of the day and what their role is. So it's that, really. I think that because people have been recruited in such a quick space of time, mistakes have been made and they've been found out. Hence all the videos that you find on YouTube. Hence is when I came curious with it all as well, because there seems to be a lot of it about, you know, thanks Leeds, Yorkshireman. Did I used to pay for? Actually, no, I didn't.
I think he's talking about your resemblance to oh god, what's the guy's name? Proper brilliant footballer. Can't remember his name. Somebody will tell me in chat room. And I remember, but he wore glasses and he had long hair like you. So and you were a black guy as well, so he did resemble you in a lot of ways. But he wore glasses when he was playing because he couldn't get over contacts.
Seedorf.
Yeah, classic Clarence Seedorf. Yeah, I think that's who we're talking about. Trust police blockers straight offers fucking train of thought and onto someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just baffled with that. Yeah. So as I was saying, I mean, I was looking, as I say, I looked into a bit of George Soros, and there was a chart which I do apologise for. Like I say, I was trying to work out how to get my screenshots on screen at the very last minute. So I do apologise for that, and apologise to you as well, Jason. But there's a chart that's been put out there, and I'll try and find the links and put it on. I'll put it on after the recording's been done, after the live's been done. But it shows you the chart of all these groups, if you will, that George Soros funds, and obviously one of them happens to be Black Lives Matter.
Right.
People over the past had the Lives Matter with the hashtag. Sorry, it went all dark then. And yeah, because today is apparently Blackout Day, apparently, and all celebrities are doing it where they just put something black on the screen on Twitter, I believe. But yeah,
yeah. At least we're keeping up with it. We've got black on screen. Somewhat black and interesting way.
So, yeah, there must be a bit of a delay there as well.
Yeah, I think there might be. I don't know.
Yeah, because I wish I heard the echo, because then I lost my train of thought. So, you know, somebody in the chat room there can give me a prompt. It'd be great. Yeah. So yeah, just going back, just like I say, with the whole race thing. For me, you know, I've had haircuts matter. Haircuts, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you know, I'm a bit thick-skinned for that now. I don't really come across racism in a direct way, as I used to do. It's still there, you know. It obviously still is there, but you know, I don't come across it purely because I'm a locale and I'm nowhere near large cities where there are numerous amounts of people. So I like to.
How? Sorry, Owen. How does it make you feel that people are doing this? Because it makes me feel fucking really, really pissed off that people are doing this based on my skin color. You know, that I'm a white, you know, privileged sort of guy, this sort of thing. Do you find that, does it offend you that your skin color is being used?
It doesn't offend me because I'm not directly involved, Jason. However, it does hurt me because of the people that have a narrow mind, let's say, that will tar me with that brush. So let's say an incident. Well, I can tell you an incident in the UK. Well, I think it had something to do with black people. And obviously there were comparisons made. If I went somewhere where, you know, somebody would make a comment, it would be directed at that particular event, and I would be associated, because of my skin color, I was associated with that and with that crime. And I'll be honest here, and I'm saying this jokingly, but it did happen, is that when the time came for Muslim people to be persecuted, I was quite relieved, because it took the weight off my shoulders. And that's not a racist thing. It's just me saying, you know, it's just another message. And thanks for that. It was quite difficult, you know, losing the thread with messages coming in. So I'm just going to send the notifications off. Don't send any more messages. Sorry, Jason, I lost my friend there. You're going to have to prompt me again, mate, because I'm getting these messages and there's a complete distraction from me. I do apologise. And you've muted your mic. You've muted your mic. Hey!
Finally, it's only took 4 years. We were taught, I can't remember, because I was looking for that George Soros thing. I was going to pop it up on screen. Haircuts matter. We got past that, didn't we? Oh yeah, we were talking about your skin color and how it makes you feel.
It's hard with that same brush. So, like I say, you know, I was quite relieved really when you know, when the stage came to Osama bin Laden and you know, all those kind of characters, because it kind of took the weight off black people. But as far as this situation goes on, it's difficult, because once again, watching some of the videos, in particular from some of the black Americans that are saying, you know, that they think it's a false flag event, and saying, you know, obviously you're talking gang people here. If I can show you the video, I will do. But even these guys are getting like death threats. So, you know, it runs deep within the black communities as well. So if, you know, you're deemed to say something wrong, and you get ostracized from your own community. Let's see if they just pause this video. Get back to the beginning and just play a short bit of it, because it is a long video, that one, Jason.
Okay,
it's there. We'll do the first 5 minutes or so from him, you know, and this is just, I would say, a typical American, a typical black American, giving his point of view. So we'll do a couple of minutes of that, yeah?
Of this exact information from years ago. I've been doing this for years, and so, you know, that helps and aids me, you know, in my journalistic work. You know, my historical scholarship aids me in my present day journalism. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because this shit is, I've been telling y'all that is for real, and I'm gonna continue to show y'all. But I just want to let y'all know, all of this shit has been a psyop. You know, I know a lot of y'all was mad at me because I said it was dumb as hell to go out there and riot, and y'all niggas want to run y'all fucking mouths. Oh, you're a coon, blah, 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 blah. No, you're a pawn, and you're gonna get us all killed. And you're gonna fucking listen, man. Let me just say this. I'm not about to do this again. I just uploaded a video, right, called "The Masonic Truth About Police Brutality, Riots, and the New World Order Agenda." I did it yesterday. It's already at 125,000 views. Go watch this video. because this video sums up the details that I'm
You've muted your mic so we can't hear it.
YouTube took it down. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna re-upload that video, not so that we can worry about COVID-19 per se, but so you can understand how we got where we are today. Okay? Okay, I want everybody to smash that like button. Okay, shout out to my mods. Everybody smash the like button so that this video gets through the algorithm. Okay, so that YouTube doesn't block it and do the bullshit it likes to do. Now with that being said, we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna jump right in. I'm not gonna waste no time. Let me delete that. Let me delete that. All right, we're gonna jump right in. I'm not wasting no time. I'm going hard today. Listen, this shit is real, man. This shit is real. This shit is real for real, for real, for real. This shit is for real.
Is that are we doing it? Are we in?
Was gonna have a problem with that. This is why they started denoting certain patriots as terrorists, or they say, you know, you're a black extremist. And what they were going to do was instigate these riots. So we was going to have COVID-19 going on. You niggas was going to be outside rioting like some fucking retards right now, and they was going to bring in the military and tear.
So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, okay.
I will put the link in the chat.
Awesome.
For there, but I mean, he goes on for another 2 hours. This guy, but he's done
like
quite a few videos, and they're quite eye-opening, really. Yeah, you know, but the you know the Cornish phrase, there's some serious shit going down here, and I'm gonna sort it out. But
yeah,
he's
you're being played.
I mean, there was the choice of this guy or using there's actually a Jamaican guy that's done an hour-long one that's pretty much along the same lines, but it's mainly in Jamaican patois, and I wasn't going to stand here and do subtitles for everybody, but that was another good one. If I can find the link for that one, and if you understand your Jamaican patois, I'll put that on for you as well. But that guy's also spot on with the current events as well, so he doesn't just go on about the riots, he goes on about the pandemic, let's just say.
Awesome. It's just fucking so much shit going on. So much going on. Chat room. Put a link in the chat room, Denny. I'll get rid of that. There's so many comments coming in. Thank you for to everybody who's taking part. Nick GB. What happened to Jason Green becoming co-host? Well, actually, that was never the plan. The plan was he was just going to come on because it was 9/11. We were going to be talking about 9/11, and we got Dave Von Kleist on. And I know that Dave Von Kleist was the guy that woke Jason up, so he wanted to talk. You know, I would talk to him. So that's all that. It was just a guest host for that particular show. And of course, we're going to have other guest hosts as well. I'll tell you what I've got next week. I've just booked in today. Oh, what's the guy's name? Dick. His name's Dick. If you get the name Khan and you want to guess the name before, Dick is not exactly what you'll be looking for. But I've got a guy called Dick Khan. He's going to be on Monday. He has been smoking, in his own words, smoking lots and lots of DMT, and then he's been writing books about his adventures on there. I wish I could get a grant to do something like that, but I don't think he got a grant. I think he did it all off his own back. But he'll be joining us next Monday from 8 o'clock, and we'll be talking about his book, and hopefully I'll have a copy before then as well, because he's sending me one, which probably I'll have a read of and then give out as a prize or something. We did try and give a prize away when we had Neil Sanders on, but I don't think Neil Sanders. I don't think anybody wanted his book, so I think he rubbed people up the wrong way. Anyway, yeah, it's so good. Hello to we're in the second hour. We're nearly in the second hour. We did start at 5 past. So we owe you 5 minutes, so we'll probably go over 5 minutes. Keep Owen as co-host. That's going to be happening more and more, I promise you. Owen's going to be co-hosting whenever he can. It's going to be happening more and more, but we've been over in Portugal. I don't know how stable things are where you are at the moment.
They're all good. They're all good. They're all good.
Then yeah, we can get. We'll definitely have Owen as co-host. Max Hogan says Neil Sanders is tremendous. And the Webster report has put grrr, Sanders.
Everybody has their own individual opinion.
Exactly.
And we must respect that. Yeah,
Alice Georgeson has said, I'll have his book if I run out of bog roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off kilter because I want to mention something that I was actually speaking to
It's
Alice
that
about
fucking
today.
thick. Imagine how many shits you'd get out of that. Alice.
I had a message from good old Alice today. It's just something I want to throw out there as well. It's maybe Alice can just confirm this in the chat as well. Is that GCHQ being in schools, which is something that came up in conversation today with Alice. I'm going to try and find the article that she sent me because it's very interesting. I mean, talk about infiltrating children's minds at a very early age. Do you want to go for these kids? But at 4, would you believe? 4 years of age. See if I can find the story from Alice and give you a quick update. That. Sorry, Lacey.
So GCHQ in schools?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
that's marvellous, isn't it? That's just marvellous. They'll be probably teaching kids how to kill themselves and then lock themselves in a fucking duffel bag. Sorry about me. There were an F word in there. Oh, I've lost him. Owen's gone. I'm sure he'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Something must have happened. There we go. This is from Webster. Not on about his plagiarized books. They are great info. He's attacking people instead of debunking people's info, as the info is sound. Whoever would be saying it. Oh, right. The info is sound, whoever was saying it. So, yeah, Webby's not personally having a go at Sanders. I just think that Neil Sanders' very existence winds Webby up to a point where he's about to explode like a kettle that's been on for too long. And it's whistling and Owen is back.
I took the wrong screen off. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to find the old Facebook screen and I exited the wrong one off. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I was trying to find the Facebook page. Sorry about that. So that's not happening.
Nice one. Let's see what's going on. Have you found something? Have you found what you're looking for?
I'm not. I'm still searching. So you can just talk to our lovely audience.
Super Lee says Sanders is a tosser. All right, let's just leave it down. I have people on that. I have people on that sometimes I don't agree with. As when I got in touch with Joe Public this week, and he reported to me that he'd come back on afterwards, and I were talking to Ade, and I'd said that him and his mate were that I'd never met two such wankers in my entire life. But I don't remember doing it. Don't remember saying it. I don't think that's something I'd have said as well, because I've always had Joe Public's back, but he seems to think that I said it. So
I've got it. There we go.
We'll leave it at that. Let's go on to more pressing issues. What GCHQ in schools since 2011, says Weefy Man. Have you found what you were looking for?
I certainly have. I'm
Okay.
just going to bring it up on screen.
Get on that share screen thing. Ha, says Super Leeds. Ha. I'll not put it on until I've still got that guy that's,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Let me just go back then. Sorry, matey.
Oh, Raconteurs news. It's amateur night tonight. Somebody put that in fucking. Sorry, I keep swearing. I'm really sorry, whoever it is. Lion's share. I keep doing it. I must stop myself.
Amateur night. Thank you very much for that.
I've added the chat in link in chat. Oh, right, okay. Nice one, Alice. Alice from down.
There you go.
Down
It's
here.
there. It's there. I put it in. It's in.
There we go. Right, let's have a look at that.
So, Britain's listening post, which has conducted unlawful mass surveillance and offensive cyber operations, is now running secretive programs in at least 40 UK schools, which gives it access to children as young as 4. Declassified UK can reveal that the UK that Government Communications Headquarters, Britain's largest intelligence agency, has gained access to at least 22,000 primary and secondary school children in dozens of schools, and the organisation may be spying on children. So obviously it goes on. Evidence also suggests that quotes purporting to be from children praising the programme have been manufactured. So the stated purpose of the CHS programme is to enable secondary school children aged 11 to 17 years old near GCHQ based in Cheltenham to experience new ways of learning and innovative cyber, I can't even say it, innovative cyber environment. It also aims to recruit children for jobs in the sector by helping them to educate on the opportunities that exist within the cybersecurity and computing industry. So yeah, that was up there. But I mean, is that really their agenda? Is that really the reason why they're going in there? Or is it to find out what the parents are like at home and what the parents are doing?
Well, I would have thought there's no reason for them going in anywhere. There's more reason for them to go into a strip club than there is for them to go into a school. There's more reason for them to go into a toilet and use Summer Alice's toilet roll.
It's got to be all part of the common purpose, though, hasn't it? It's all got to be said. It must be under that same arm of common purpose, surely.
Oh yeah. It's like having police in schools. GCQ, they're just going to be data gathering. They're going to be data mining from all the kids. That's what they do. With that guy from GCHQ, you've got spies in schools, essentially.
Spy kids.
Schools. Spy kids. Exactly.
Exactly that. I'm going to see if I can try and throw up another video for you that's a lot shorter than the last that I had. Because there was quite a few. And with me saying earlier on is that this is my first dabble at literally getting things onto a live stream. So I do apologise for my slowness. Let me just pause that so you're not hearing it.
You don't got to do shit.
Bear with me for a second. Thank you. Getting all these bleeps going on as well.
Nubin says, what I learned in school, Jesus was put on a cross, he had to carry himself, and they drove nails into his hands and feet. Trauma. I also learned that some animals have sex within the same sex. So gay animals, that's what they're teaching in Sweden, where Nubin is. I should know, shouldn't I? I mean, we interviewed Alex Thompson, who was ex-POS, GCHQJs. Yeah, less said about that, the better. I think, if I remember rightly, I'll have to have a look back at that. Edgar fucking Davids says Super Leeds. Yeah, all right. School is a joke. Mark Serengeti says school is a joke. We homeschool our daughter. She has published a book in 8 countries. They don't get that opportunity in school. That's very good. Thank you very much for that, Marco. And congratulations to your homeschool that produced a well-rounded human being that is able to contribute something to society. So, they were good interviews. Oh, well, that's good then. Anyway, so Marco, congratulations on your daughter and Webby. I will listen back if they were good interviews then. Do you want me to add this to the stream? Yeah?
I certainly do. And I've just turned my message, so I will no longer receive messages. I'll just play this one. This is just another American giving his view on everything.
This is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
So these kind of the things that's trending at the moment with the old QAnon.
All right. Let's keep going. Game
over. Two. Here we go one. Here we go all. It says here, mapping the Antifa network started a long time ago. The Antifa mapping started a long time ago. Q. Barr about to unmask all of Antifa's communications with their media and political allies. Now you know why so many people are freaking out today. Attention, Antifa comrades. This is from OC. Antifa and Lisa Crowley, she infiltrated the Antifa movement as a so check this out. Antifa, attention Antifa comrades. Today marks the end of an almost 3-year operation. Our infiltration of your movement was a success, and the faces and identities of everyone who has attended or financially supported Marxist and seditious activities has been recorded.
So, just going on that. So, once again, just getting those viewpoints from the Americans, in particular the Q followers there. One of the things I think that bothers me about it is that, because there's so much information that goes out with that, is that nobody's quite sure what's going on with it. I mean, there's other stuff that's floating about at the minute in regards to Trump being a paedophile and everything else. But it's one of those, because obviously you've got people. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'll tell you that now. I'm just looking at everything. I'm just looking at the Q thing. I'm looking at everything that's there because I want to make my own mind of what's going on. So I'm looking at all sides of the coin. So going along with the Q thing, he says, I think he turned off his. Thank you. Let's have a look at that. Who's this? So Jason. Thank you. Yeah, so there's, like I say, there's lots of different things that's going on with all this Q movement and whatnot. You don't really know what's going on, but one of the things that got me about this, and another reason why I just shown that about the Antifa thing, is that they went to the church where Martin Luther King did his famous speech, and that was torched. Think about that. You know, black people that are rioting because a black man was killed have then gone down to the place where Martin Luther King did his famous speech and burnt the place down. And if anybody can tell me, do you know what I mean? For a person that knows the history and knows what that person did was trying to do for the black person, would they really go down and burn a church, the church where he spoke?
That's a lack of education, though, isn't it? That's a lack of education.
Is it a lack of education, or is it people that have been paid?
Well, it's probably.
I mean, how can you be angry? How can you be angry at a place that hasn't done any harm to you? All that building, all that material stone is just where a person stood and made a speech. So to go there and burn the place down is some form of symbolism, surely, because it has no relevance to do with, it didn't even happen in that city, but yet this building or this place was torched. So for me, that once again just doesn't match the narrative of the riots. It doesn't make sense.
No, you're right. It don't make any sense, and there's a lot about this that don't make any sense if you're prepared to listen to the official narrative, which we all. I mean, anybody who's listening to this show now obviously knows that the official narrative is rarely the actual facts of things. But I can't. When I say lack of education, I mean I don't care what you are, but if you're a black guy and someone comes up to you and says, "I'll give you $1,000 to torch this building," if you know that building is where Dr. King did his speech, you're going to go, no chance. You're going to say no if you know. But if you don't know, then because you don't want to be vilified in your community, you'd be fucking, your community would just disown you completely if they ever found out about it. And you'd have more respect for it as well. So,
well, that's it. I mean, there are videos here where you'll see an older black person talking to a younger black lad, and literally telling him, you know, you don't want to be doing this. Do you really want to be doing this? You know, I'm a certain age, and you know, if you carry on the way you're doing, you won't survive. So there are videos of that floating about. But I think the problem with it is that, you know, a lot of these are people that have done the calls on the mobile phone, so it's not been picked up, or perhaps it has been picked up by the mainstream media, but it's not being shown because, once again, it's all part of the divide and conquer. Show people the negative, isn't it? I mean, if you look into the Masonic side of it, one of their things is wanting order out of chaos, and what we've got at the moment, chaos.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that, you know, for me, there are too many things that are coincidental that are happening there for them not to be connected.
So I did write something down, something you said earlier on, about you said that when it was the Muslims' turn, shall we say, to be vilified in the media and everything and stuff, and you felt a weight had been lifted from your shoulders. I mean, that is, again, I mean, that's something that you shouldn't personally have experienced, because I didn't feel the weight lifted off my shoulders. You know, I just felt the weight of going on my shoulders that now there's somebody else I'm supposed to, you know. There
you go. There you go. I mean, it's. I mean, throughout my life, I obviously you have situations where you meet people, and I automatically know that they would feel uncomfortable in my presence purely because of the colour of my skin. So what would I do? I would make light of it, Jason. That person then would be comfortable in that in the environment, in the situation we're in. Yeah. And that's it. I've learned to read that situation and deal with it accordingly, rather than it being embarrassing. You know, and that's just the way I am. You know, if somebody, you know, I have no problem with anybody hating me, you know, or anything like that, because at the end of the day, it's them that has the problem of hating me. I don't have a problem. You know, it's them that has the problem with the dislike of me or whatever. So it's never been that. And you know, that I think to lose a friend over something like that is far worse than losing somebody over a race issue, if I'm honest. You know,
the race issue is a joke anyway. I mean, all you've got to do is look at the name that it's given, race. That sort of suggests that it's a competition.
Exactly.
It's just, take people as you find them. You know, that's how I do. That's how I do it. I mean, I've not got very many black friends, but in fact, I've got you. But I don't get out anywhere. I don't do anything.
yeah.
When I used to work in clubs, oftentimes, you know, there'd be black guys on the door and patrolling around. Never had any problem with, apart from one time, and it weren't my problem. It was his problem, because he said to me,
"Well, that's it, isn't it?" I think that's it. Regardless, it's the situation. It's the situation that happens, and it has nothing to do with the colour of the skin. If somebody's a shithead, they're a shithead. Somebody's a tosser, a tosser. It's got fuck all to do with the colour of the skin. That's just a generalisation. That's a label, isn't it?
Apart from fucking green people. Fuck green people. That's what I said.
I'll tell you what, the lizards, yes.
The fucking lizards, yeah.
The lizards, yes.
Lizards.
In particular lizards. And I want to. Is there any more news about Bookhouse?
I don't know. I mean, I noticed today. I noticed today Mark Devlin made exactly the same comment as I did on last night's show, that there were a picture of the Queen that when she was supposed that she were on her one of her horses, which hopefully soon she's going to be having to eat in order to fucking survive. But she were on one of her horses. No, nothing against horses, please. I've got one. It's a joke. So don't hate me. I've got a fucking horse.
Carry on, go with it.
Yeah, so so she's he made the same point that she's got a coat on and like, you know, a hat and things, and it yesterday we were boiling, or day before it's been red hot. So why is she got a coat on, and you know, why is she so? It's obviously a picture from a different time.
Exactly that. I was looking. There's Mel that's in the chat room that I think she's watching in tonight, and I was talking to her while I was actually going through stock photograph footage of the Queen. The original photograph that I originally saw was a autumnal photograph. Right. The Queen was wearing a red, not red bandana, a red scarf and a green wax jacket on the same horse. But then the other one, it shows her in a blue, whatever else it is, and it's springtime. But once again, with the weather we've been having, in particular, if you ever look at the weather maps, and anybody in the north will understand what I'm on about. It's anytime that it's really hot in the north, it's shit hot in London. And you know, and she's apparently going around on the horse at Windsor. I find that quite, you know, because she's disappeared, this, that, and the other. So there's actually been a meme made. And
she actually, it might be real, but because she is cold-blooded.
Yeah, true. But yeah, the meme's been made, and it's the actual photograph of the Queen on the horse. But it actually says QE2 on Shergar, because they both went missing, didn't they? Shergar went missing for a while, didn't they? So yeah, it's QE2.
Shergar went in the IRA took Shergar, didn't they?
So I'll post that meme up later on if anybody wants to nick it and share it, because I think it's quite funny. But yeah, so I mean, there's all that, you know. Queenie's gone missing. Yeah, one thing as well, I'm going to go on to COVID because of the time and everything else, and I can't get onto any of the other screenshots. But with the COVID thing, Dr. Fauci seems to have disappeared off the scene. Dr. Fauci, who was the medical advisor.
Oh, right, okay.
He seems to be out of the picture when obviously suspicions and everything else was coming about his connections, and that's what seems to be happening lately of all these people. When the mutterings start, is that slowly these people are disappearing from public view. Let's say. I mean, if you look at the whole thing with Hollywood and with the Tom Hanks thing, and then there's photographs floating around with Nicole Kidman without her adrenochrome, looking very skinny with a broken leg. Literally, if you see her, she's got one of these plastic things, you know, the leg support. But her other leg looks as though she puts any weight on it, that's going to go as well. She looks that. She doesn't look like Nicole Kidman from, what can I say, Moulin Rouge, let's say.
Right, I've not seen that.
And I know what you mean. Sorry? She doesn't look well at all. But I mean, if you look at a lot of these actors now, you look at a lot of these actors, you think, fucking hell, you needed a lot of makeup when you was on film, because they don't look like themselves. They look drained, they look withdrawn, and everything else. Obviously, and all these people have the Epstein paedophile connection. So that's another side of it as well that I've been looking into as well. Yeah. That was it. I get that, Webby. Yeah, because I mean, there was something going on as well about the unicorn, as well being knocked over by a truck. That's how it was reported in the press. So I believe that the unicorn was knocked down. But I believe if you look at, once again, it's another one of those things that I've seen but I've not looked into. But if you look into the symbology of losing the crown or the unicorn, there is some constitutional significance, man, if I could put it that way. Webby, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, these things have gone missing. You know, it's been there, but and also there's obviously the other thing that's been floating about also on YouTube, on Facebook, is Greg Hallett has done. There's a Photoshop picture where his crest is on one side of the gate, and it's got obviously the new King John II or the third. But you know, for me, once again, whether these stories are true or not, I've not looked into them, so I can't say yes or no. I'm not going to either. But it just seems to be a lot of people coming out at the minute doing their own monetization. You know, setting up, and we can tell you how it's going down. This is what, get a pen. That's what to me.
The thing I've got with, I know the crest has been took down, and I can't work that out. But they also said the windows seem to have been boarded up from the inside. Now, it wasn't that long ago that we were all complaining that Buckingham Palace was getting a fucking revamp for, I don't know however many millions.
40 million or something. 40 million revamp.
So I don't know whether that's part of it or not. That could be an explanation.
Well, there you go. But I mean, then again, I mean, people are saying the shutters up at the window. You know, and what people aren't, you know, it's the logical thinking. Look at the building; it's fucking old. They're old shutters that are in there that have probably never ever been shut. So what looks like nicely green painted shutters that have been put there may well have been these things that have already been. You know, they have those in those kind of old buildings where you have an extra blind to block out the sunlight. You know, so it's one of those. It's not a shutter that it could possibly be. A natural window shutter, you know, a shutter for a window, and not a board that's been placed on the inside of the window. It's
right.
not, you know what I mean? And that's the way that I'm looking at it. You see, because yeah, it'd be great if all this is happening. But you've got to look at the other possibilities as well. It could be that they are the genuine shutters that were inside there, because it's, you know, it's an old building, and old buildings tend to have things like that because some of them were built before curtain rails were invented. You know, so it's one of those. Look at it that way rather than directly thinking, oh fucking hell, it's all boarded up there out. It could, like you say, it could well be that the renovation is going on. I hope not. I hope it's been gutted and all the gold and everything else is being taken out and given back to the people. That's what my hope is. But,
Yeah, that fucking lie. Fucking. They'd have me. They'd probably say, "Oh, we're giving it back to the people, but you don't count." Once you said you were a fucking alien on one.
You've already got 2 mobility scooters. You're not having another.
Listen, today I got a ramp to go on so I can get onto my back garden.
Nice.
So now I can get on my back garden, and tomorrow it's going to fucking piss it down, which is just about my luck, innit, really. You know what I mean? I've got, it's quite good. I'm going to video myself going down it because it's on my wheelchair because it's like coming to Ender, you know, when you get to the bottom.
We'll get some gravel. Get some gravel then. Get a gravel trap.
I like it though. It's like going to end of a ride at Alton Towers. It just goes because you're going that fast, but you have to be obviously very. You have to be very skilled in the wheelchair to be able to do that, and thankfully I am. And just on that crest as well, that crest might have been took in. Just another thing. I'm not saying it has. I'm not trying to put anybody's fucking hopes down because I really hope that that's it and we don't see her again and she goes off into disappearance and lives her years out as fucking Betty living in Arbroath. You know, I won't mind that in a council house getting a weekly pension. I won't mind that. I don't want the woman killing because I just think that just makes us as bad as them. So, but perhaps it has gone in for a bit of a polish, or it might be getting painted or something. I don't know. I really don't know. But to leave one on one side and one on the other, what does the one on the other side represent? Anybody know that?
I don't know, but it'd be nice to know. I mean, I'm just looking on the chat here, and Webby's put in that Trump's bloodline is allegedly further up the hierarchy than the false Windsors, which is something I saw the other day as well. Because I remember a few years ago, there was that furore going on about Trump buying loads of acreage up in Scotland and himself building a golf course.
Yeah.
There was a big uproar about it, but nothing was done about it. And then it's like what some people are saying about it when Trump visited the UK, and I believe the UK press was making it out to be a naughty thing that he did, that he was walking in front of the Queen when he was presented the guard. Yeah, I remember that. Apparently royal etiquette is that the Queen goes forward first, but as far as I know, I mean, I forgot to do it before I was coming on, but I wanted to look at other foreign dignitaries that have arrived in the UK and have the same treatment, because I'm sure that the Queen, just like they do at football, is that the first person gets introduced and then they just get led on. Do you know what I mean? Where that's, so the news story said, obviously Trump, did something that he shouldn't do, or whatever it is. Trump broke royal etiquette. Yeah. Whereas the fact, what I want to do, I've not done it yet, is actually look back on other footage where she has met dignitaries, where they have met the guards, to see if that is the process that normally happens. Because that's obviously where the news stories start, isn't it? Well, the thing is, if you go back through Donald Trump's lineage, I mean, I saw him say, he said there were there's me, my father John, my grandfather Brian, and then it was me again, and then before that it was Derek. You know what I mean? Time traveler. The man's a time traveler. He's got to be. Mm-hmm. I love that thought of him being a time traveler. I've not looked into that stuff, but I mean, it's, if we go, look into predictive programming, all the stuff that's coming about the Simpsons and stuff like that. And I was just thinking about it, really, is that when I have looked, and I do tend to look on TV guides and sort of stuff that's being shown, and there was a series called Who Do You Think You Are? Right. Which does all the family trees. Now, at first, the program was celebrities, but towards the last time of me reading, it was a lot of the politicians. Okay. So obviously, you were being fed bloodlines. So I would question any of those, because it was a BBC program. Do you understand what I mean? I would question that. Yeah. Purely because of the BBC, and because obviously we know that they will aid an agenda. No, well, they had that fucking cucumber cunt. What's his name? Benedict Cucumber bunch. Fucking Benedict. Yeah. Related to Richard III. No, he isn't. He's had a fucking Richard III. And by the way, if you want one, you can go round to Alice's house. She's got plenty of overall. I'm only kidding, Neil, if you're watching. I really enjoyed that. But as far as I've got in it, it's that fucking big. It's about 1 billion pages. But yes. we were going to talk. We've got about half an hour left. You wanted to talk about COVID, but we seem to have gone on to all sorts of different things about the COVID. Imagine these are all things that people in the chat room are bringing up. I remember Trump stood in front of the Queen blocking it. Yeah, we were talking about that, and they were a big furore, weren't they? In the press, that it weren't royal etiquette, and exactly. Were like, fucking shift out of way, bitch. I'm fucking going. But that's it. I mean, you can look at it on the side, as Webby was saying in the chat, that that could be the right sort of etiquette, that he is walking in front of the Queen if those bloodlines are correct. However, when was the last time any of us looked at a video of another president or prime minister doing the same thing with the Queen? Because then it would give us a clear indication of whether that is the etiquette or not. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, because it's only the press that are telling us that it's wrong. I don't think if there's anything on YouTube on it, who's done that? And are they a royalist, the person that's put it on? It's all those things there, rather than accepting what's been presented in front of you, looking further into that, because there's definitely, as we know with everything, if you're going to look at finance, everything else, there's always these back doors, there's always these loopholes that we're never ever told about. So it's just about searching and finding the stuff, because the answer's there. You just got to look for it. But see both sides. You don't look at both sides, you're never going to get it. Never ever going to get it.
You'll only ever get one side. You might only believe one side, but at least give the other side give it a chance. But just don't go to anybody. Listen, whatever anybody does tonight, please. This is advice. This is Raconteurs News doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is good advice. Please don't go to your next door neighbor and have sex with them. Okay, particularly if they don't want to as well.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon that. They don't like that. So just don't have sex in anyone else's house. I mean, you can probably do it in their garden, but not in house. I mean, how weird's that? How weird is it? I mean,
does that mean that if
think about that?
If I was in the UK and found that somebody was doing that, I would ring 999 and they would say, which emergency service, please? I would then say, fuck police.
Yes.
I would say, fuck police. And just see their response there. Come on, police, please.
Okay, yeah, put me through to fuck police. And by the way, I want to turn my sen in. But can I get dressed and have a shower first? Please.
But I mean, how ridiculous does that sound? Of
all the things they could have thought about, I mean, they're sitting there and they're thinking, right, what can we do? We've got to make it look like we're doing stuff. So we'll allow 6 people rather than 2 to attend, be in the same place. But we did put in place that threesomes were out, that you couldn't do them anymore. So we'll probably tell people that they can't have sex in someone else's house. And that'll stop all swingers parties, which will then stop the transmission of COVID-19. Perhaps they're thinking that we live like they live, where they're just shagging everybody, at anybody's house, or even worse, they're fucking abusing kids. I don't fucking know. It's
unbelievable.
What a meeting to do that.
I don't get it. But then again, is that something they've put in there for people to have a go at? Do you understand what I mean? Just for people, something for people to talk about, something to distract them away from what they're doing. Do you understand what I mean? Because that's how ridiculous it sounds. I mean, just that alone. So I can go, right, let's just say scenario. I'm in the UK and I live separate to my fiance. And I've not seen her throughout the lockdown, right? So this is my first opportunity to see my partner that I've not seen for, a good while. So I can go around to a house, yeah? I can go around to a house and visit her, can't I?
Yep.
So who's going to be stood at the end of the bed taking a video knowing that we're doing it?
Well, perhaps they're going to be...
Or is that up to the neighbours to do? Yeah,
but neighbours don't know what you're doing in a bedroom, do they? I mean...
yeah, but they know when they're like that, the curtain going, hey, they don't live there. Hey, George, she don't live there.
Yeah, yes.
I've
told you before, Barbara, they're allowed to go to other people's houses now. Yeah, but they've just shut upstairs curtains.
But do you understand what I'm saying, though? It's just flawed. It's flawed. How can they police that? How is that policed?
Well, it's there's probably going to be a fucking sex squad.
It's what I'm saying, though, isn't it?
Knocking on people's doors. Excuse me, sir. Have you been having sexual congress with anybody in their house? In a house that's not theirs, that's not yours. Or have you been having sexual congress with anybody in this house who doesn't live here? No, officer. Thank you very much. Can I take your details? No officer. Fucking
No. But that's how ridiculous it all is, though, isn't it? It's flawed. Everything's flawed. The figures have been flawed. Everywhere, all these figures have been flawed. You know? And as I said the other day, we're all being played. You know, even with all this throughout the COVID, we're all being played. You know, it's us that are here on this show that are sat here and talking about it and having a good go about it. You know?
Yeah. Let's listen,
Owen. Because that's what I can do about the situation, Jason. Just shake my head because it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And then they go and throw this shit in. You know?
Well, listen, this is a disclaimer. After the show, when we end the broadcast, obviously myself and Owen are still here, but we will not be having sexual intercourse.
No.
Because he's at his house and I'm at my house, and we're quite far apart at the moment, and we need extended penises and all sorts. So
you speak for yourself. You speak for yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna fucking hell. I'm not fucking going up against you, am I? Holy Jesus Christ, fucking hell. It's always a fucking nightmare. It used to be in a nightclub and a black bloke would come up at side of you. You'd think, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got to pretend I'm fucking finished now. Check it and put it away because I'm not competing against that.
Yeah. Anyway, swiftly moving on.
Anyway, we've got 25 minutes left.
Who else have you got lined up in the coming weeks?
With what?
Who else have you got lined up in the coming weeks? Who are you hoping to get?
I've got that bloke next week. That's it. I don't look too far into the future. It's
I've been talking to a lady from Minnesota whose family actually hail from Jamaica. She spent a lot of time working in New York, and she wrote a brilliant article about the area. And I've kind of asked her for a chat. She's agreed, but we haven't done a date yet. So I think that's it. Obviously, from an insight from somebody that's in the area, but also the reason why I contacted her is because when I was finding the articles about the segregation and the housing, I came across an article by her. So obviously, I straight away contacted her and just said, look, I've been doing something quite similar, but I found your article far more in depth because obviously you're there on the streets. Do you mind having a chat with me? She's replied yes. So I'm just waiting for her to come back with a date. So hopefully, just for a different point of view, and things may have calmed down by then, they may have escalated, but it'd be nice to have, another American view from over the pond.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no problem. Listen, if you want to, you can use my platform if you want to interview her. I can. It's not a problem. I can get you both on here, and I can be hidden away and just producing you. So, mate,
cool. That'd be great.
If she wants to have a chat, then use this platform, my friend.
Most definitely, because I think in particular with this going on, I think if people at least know what's going on the ground there from somebody that's heavily involved and knows about the history of the area, I can't think of a better source than somebody to talk to, really. So she's in agreement to do it. Just wait for a date for her to come back, and then we can get that ball rolling.
Stephen Moore has put no, Max Egan just repeats himself with doom and gloom. As everyone probably remembers, I tried to get Max on a couple of weeks ago, and he missed the show, and I realised that afterwards that with the second time it happened. So I don't know if I'm going to. Well, I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to invite him on again for a while anyway. Do you know I might get Vinny Eastwood on just for comedy? It's just
that'd be great for Vinny. I love Vinny. I find Vinny, as well as
we haven't spoken to him since he's become a dad, have we?
No, not at all. That'd be a good one, that, because he's a good. I find him a good bloke, and he's always good for a chat, good for a laugh.
Right, I'll see if I can get him on for next Tuesday, and then me and you will do it.
Not a problem at all. I'm happy with that.
Awesome. Well, there you go. They see it's a production meeting.
There you go.
Don't get that anything else.
just to let you know, then I'm in the middle of, that you guys know as well. I'm in the middle of house hunting. I'm trying to find myself a smaller place than where I was at before. Focus on my food again and growing all my food and stuff like that. But I hope to do something aside from Raconteurs news and do stuff based on my food and healthy food at that. So yeah, I've got that up and coming. But that's literally it's going to dictate the things that I want to do. It's going to dictate the type of properties that I get. So I've got loads of searches. I was on a Portuguese internet radio show yesterday morning where they were property searching for me, and I gave them the brief, and all five of the properties that they recommended I already had on the list. So I've got a list of about 26, all really, really good, and for the amount of land that I want to grow on and everything else, the budget is 25,000 euros, and I'm looking at properties at the minute. I saw one today at 8,500, which was perfect for me. So there's loads of properties and stuff like that, and once I've got that started, I'll be up and running with my cooking programs and all the rest of it. What was that one? One message just flashed up there after that. Was it after that one?
The first one was Vinny. Vinny, I'm thinking he must be talking about Vinny Eastwood. Looks like a hand-knitted Guy Fawkes.
Okay.
Oh, Vinny is like, there we go. Vinny is like a hand-knitted charity shop Guy Fawkes. Very good. Very good. Very witty, our chat room tonight. And then put something else as well. Oh, and don't forget Webby's cooking stream, apparently.
Somebody had said that last night, which you found I found rather funny as well. What was it? It was a something exchange, wasn't it? What was it called? Something to do with Webby's bills of exchange, was it? It was a take on the bills of exchange.
Yeah, grills of exchange.
The grills of exchange, that's the one. Yeah.
The grills of exchange. See,
it's good. I like that. That was good. I like that.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Good night, Alice. Alice must be leaving us tonight.
Sorry, I had to roar then.
15 minutes, mate. 15 minutes. What are we going to fill it with?
Anything at all. What want to talk about in the chat room? What are you guys running about in the chat room?
Well, they're just having their own chat on their own, like they usually do, and then putting grills of exchange in as well. Lion's share explaining to newbie that in English a telltale is an expression for a snitch or a grass. Yeah, that's right. But
yeah, I know. I do want to give my apologies to Uni Black Sister for last night. After the show finished, I was looking at the press conference that Trump did in the Rose Garden, saying, declaring martial law and the curfew at 7 p.m. So obviously I knew that Uni was on, and I thought I would go on to try and tell him. And due to technical difficulties, I think I sounded like Norman Collier from time to time. You'll know who Norman Collier is, won't you, Jason? Surely.
No, I
could go on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I sounded like that. Right. And the vision kept going off as well. So, and all I wanted to do was tell him, look, Uni, you're in the US of A. You are now under lockdown. You are now under curfew. You are now under martial law. And I couldn't get the message out. I think Super Lee's was in there with him as well. And no matter, every time I just tried to say it just kept cutting off. And after about me 6th or 7th attempt, I gave up. So I'm sorry, Uni. I'll try and join you another time if you'll have me on. But yeah, I was just going to come on to tell you that, you're there.
Well, you gotta know.
I'm just reading Max's. Max is definitely on one tonight. Nice one, Max. Thank you very much.
Hey dear.
That's it. So I mean, listen. Seriously, if you have the choice, right? I suppose it's like the Last Supper, let's say. So tomorrow is your Last Supper. It's the first day you can have 6 people round. Who would be those 6 people, Jason?
Not there. I don't want anybody round.
You is a good you.
You see, if people come round to your house, you have to make it tidy. Yeah.
Nobody's using that fucking lift. Nobody's using that fucking lift, he says.
Exactly. You've got the clean
toilet's upstairs. The toilet's up the fucking stairs.
Yeah, and you've got to clean it as well. You've got to fucking make sure that scraper that you did this morning has gone completely. And you know what I did? Because my mum and dad were coming round, I fucking ruined an entire bog brush. I had to clear it, and I just ruined it, and I put it back in thing, and I thought, this is just no good, it can't stay in here. So I went and put it in my wife's, the little bedroom we got, my wife uses it as a dressing room, so I put it in there. Told her to go and buy it as a new one. So yeah, I didn't know you were on uni. I didn't know uni were doing a show last night, otherwise I'd probably popped my head in at some point.
Leeds was there as well. I mean, I like I say, as soon as I got the thing there from, you know, mentioning the martial law and the curfew, I thought, well, uni's on. Let's see what uni thinks. So that's obviously I went straight to it then and tried to get on. In fact, I was on the laptop as I am now, and the signal was poor last night. Just couldn't get through. So then I went into the kitchen to try and do it from there, and that's where I had the Norman Collier incident. So I gave up, like I say, after the fourth or fifth time. But yeah.
How many times during the time that you were on? How many times did you only go for a shit and just leave you hanging there like fucking? Like what fucking just like.
To be honest, I can't remember whether he did get up and go. I think he got up possibly once, but I think it was just because of the technical stuff that was going on. I don't know, but he did. I remember him leaving once, but I can't confirm if he went to the toilet or not.
I was watching once, and it got that Shield Destroyer on and Super Leeds, and Shield Destroyer says, "I'm going to go and get myself a drink," and Uni says, "Oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom," and they just both left, and nobody were there saying no, and obviously not going to get out of Super Leeds because he would just fucking he would you know he was a little bit refreshed, so there was nothing. It was dead air, complete dead air. It was for about 5 minutes, so it weren't a quick go and have a piss, check it, and fucking come back. Put it back into your prison. He's got a prison uniform on, hasn't he, that he wears all the time. It's
like my prison uniform.
It's like a fucking faded Guantanamo Bay outfit. So you know, it were off for 5 minutes. So it must have been having a shit. And I just thought to me saying, what?
Yeah, but I mean, he's definitely worth a watch. I mean, if you can, anybody that's watching it, they give you the back sister a look up.
Yes, I would. I would watch. Give him a watch. Some support.
It's part of the game.
As soon as he sorts his sound issues out, I'll get him on again. But he's like sits so far away from microphone that it's like, you know, he's shouting at you, and then things are going back. If we can sort his get instead of like a headset or something and have the laptop there or whatever, then we'll get him back on. But it's just a bit difficult when he's Jace. At least he's not pissing into a bottle live on air.
Now I don't know if we can get away with this, Jason, but I've got a friend of mine that has a YouTube channel and is a singer.
Oh, wow.
And I'd like to play one of his songs, one of his videos that's on YouTube.
Okay.
Because I'm sure he would give us the go. I'm sure he would have no problem at all with us doing it. I'd like to do it for the last before we go off when we finish, if you want. Then if it's not good, you can just cut it off. How's that?
Well, yeah. YouTube usually fucking it's a bit sketchy, you know, sound, but yeah, we'll give it a try.
We'll give it a try because we can do it on the screen share. Owen, what's the end game and what's going on in the US in your humble opinion? Chris, I don't know because
I was telling you.
I'm still getting my head around the US political system. And like I say, I'm not a follower of Trump, but I have been following the whole Q thing because, like I say, I want to know what's going on with it. As far as I know, with if you're going along with the Q and the Trump thing, is that there are over 40,000 impeachments And as far as because I thought, well, okay, these people have been arrested, you know, they've been taken away, this, that, and the other. The system doesn't work like that. These, you know, these people are named. Apparently, it's then it's taken to a panel of I would say peers or general public. Then they make a decision on whether this person should be tried or not, and then this gets sealed. It gets sealed it gets sealed into an envelope or whatever what you will, and these are all collated. Now they do, when indictments normally happen, they're carried out straight away. But because of this scale and the enormity of all these indictments, is that if they were to open one and get one person, although they have done it, and it was quite documented in the States. I think it was a pizza shop owner or somebody in that field. But for them to open one of these sealed impeachments, let's just say as a name, Tom Hanks was named in the whole paedophilia thing. Let's say if they did that and it's Tom Hanks, that would obviously automatically give anybody else associated in the whole thing a heads up, and then they disappear. So as far as I know, and this is obviously from what I've read, is that all these impeachments are going to be served all at once, and this is all part of this queue thing that's been going on. The political system, as I see it, there's an election in the States this year, and if I go back to the beginning of the program where I was mentioning about George Soros, he's a Democrat supporter, and obviously Trump's a Republican. So if you take that into consideration, as well as the COVID. If you look at the COVID situation and Dr. Fauci and his involvement with that, there's if you look at, there's a particular speech, which, damn it, I've got it, and once again, I'll try and do the linking later on. There's a speech that George Soros does that mentions actually Trump having a problem in 2020. And then if you look at Dr. Fauci and his statement made at a meeting last year or the year before, saying that in sometime within Donald Trump's tenure, if you will, he will go through a pandemic. So that's another connection. And then if you look at the event 201 and the rest of it, you can't say that these aren't coincidences. These coincidences aren't connected. You know, if you look at the election and all these things happening now, you put in a disaster, so the country's on its knees and looking for somebody to do something. So what does Trump do? Trump goes against what Fauci does and goes on about the drug what I can't pronounce. Yeah. So obviously that's
hydroquocroline.
That one, hydrocoxyline. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And he's spreading that out, and some other nations are using that, which is obviously what your Bill Gates and your Dr. Fauci don't want. They want the Gates chip and the tracking and everything else. So if you look at it that side, so obviously if you look at the way that Trump speaks to the press, it's quite justified, because those members of the press are paid by the very same people that are sat at the same table with George Soros. So the bad press that we're getting is orchestrated once again, no matter where you go. Because look at News Corp and the amount of publishers that they own. So obviously, if they're going to support a particular government or regime, they're going to go against the people that aren't going against the grain. So that's what makes me look into this, and that's why I say I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just looking at everything and seeing how I can work out and what's going to fucking happen to me at the end of the day. That's the reason why I'm doing it, because it affects me, it affects my daughters. You know, so that's the reason why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it for any sort of glory. I'm doing it because it's going to fucking affect my life, regardless to what happens. You know, I'm going to try and find that song, Jason.
Well, you try to find that song while I just explain to the listeners, viewers. If you give us a thumbs up or subscribe, if you've been listening, you're not subscribed, subscribe and give us a notification bell. Click on that bell thing, and then you should get a notification. I know a few people haven't been getting them when we've been going live, but you should get a notification. Also, I wanted to mention Nolan, my other YouTube channel, the channel that I've got put up so that I've put some old 9/11 stuff on there. and some moon landings, Apollo facts things, and a couple of documentaries about 9/11 from early days. Now, I found today on one of my hard drives, the audio of news reports in the United States, one from December the 12th, 2001, and one from December the 14th, 2001, that were reporting on Israelis being arrested and deported, and basically the Israeli connection to 9/11. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the audio only, so I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to put them up on Nolan Gamwich, on my Nolan Gamwich channel. So that's NOLANGANWICH. I should know how to spell it by now. That's on YouTube. If you can find it, subscribe to it, because I doubt that you really want to listen to this, and bear in mind the dates. This is December of 2001, so it's only a couple of months after the event. So people's guards aren't quite as up as they were. They subsequently became afterwards. Yeah, I'm going to be popping that up on there tomorrow. So look out for that. I will listen to that, because I expect it to get deleted just as soon as someone spots it. But I'm going to try and not put Israel or Israeli in it. I'm just going to, in the title, I'm just going to sort of put, this is a news report from December the 12th, 2001, and one from December the 14th, 2001. So just look out for that. It's I don't think these have been heard for a long time, because I found them on a really old hard drive that I've got, that I've been going through. Fuck off, you there. He's putting me off, see? It's just putting me off. He says stuff in singing, it just puts me off. Yeah, this old hard drive, which I've got loads of 9/11 really old 9/11 documentaries on, that you won't have seen, but if you watch them, they're very important, because then you get an understanding of the history since 9/11 and what's been going on, and how early people realised that this were not quite as we were told. And I'm not talking about people like Charlie Sheen, who went on and said, whatever. Anyway, fucking Newbean's put me off. Sorry, Newbean, you didn't really, honestly. Yeah, so the early stuff. So if you know your history, if you know the history about stuff,
if you know your history, well, you will know where he's coming from.
That's it. I put a documentary up, Aftermath, Unanswered Questions of 9/11, and that was from 2003, and that's had a few comments on it as well. And I'm not getting many. Obviously, I've just started a new YouTube channel. I'm not getting many views and everything, but look out for that. Subscribe, Nolan Gamwich. It's got a picture of Gabe off The Office on there, and subscribe to it and watch out for that, because it will be. It really is astonishing. It's in its well, in its honesty, shall we say. Yeah. Back in the day, not back in the day when the news media was honest, but when they were a little bit more naive and certain things got through. Yeah. So anyway, brilliant. Anyway, thanks very much, Owen. You've been a pleasure to talk to all evening, as I know you will be, as you always will be. Hopefully, I'll get. Who am I getting on for Tuesday? Who?
Vinny,
that's it. I'm going to try and get Vinny on for Tuesday. Me and you.
Before I go, Jason, I did. I sent a few invites out to a lot of my friends in the UK. Thanks very much if you've watched in tonight and spread it around, because obviously there's a lot of stuff that I don't generally talk about on my Facebook page, but I've always kept this inside of me and talked about other things like food and stuff like that. But this is where I'm really at. So share it around if you've enjoyed it. You know, Raconteurs News is going to be with you. You know, from now on. But you know, just spread it around. Slap like, watch it again.
Watch it as many times as you can, and give us a thumbs up as well if you like it. I was on Vinny's show a couple of weeks ago. Oh, Uni, good one, nice one. I didn't know about that. You have to send me a link to that, my friend. Look at him, flying high up there. He's with the Vinny Woods and stuff. Soon he'll be stood up in his suit jacket instead of his Guantanamo Bay thing that's obviously been washed that many times that it's faded.
Are we going to do a couple of bars of this song?
Yeah, we're gonna play the entire song. I'll play the entire song if it works. If not, then we'll both agree, you know, to switch it off, and then we'll be ending broadcast. But we're ending broadcast anyway. Mark, somebody asked me in the chat room, planes or no planes. I'll tell you next time we're on. I'll see you on Monday. There'll be an after dark as well later on in the week. If you want to come on that, Owen, have a few joints and a bit of whatever fucking Wurzels wine.
I'll bring a bong.
Lloyd Wurzel wine or some other.
I'll bring a bong.
Yeah, bring a bong. All right, so that'll be Thursday or Friday. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Owen. Let's see if we can play out with this. Get a shot.
You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order, but some don't shine but altar. Stick your new world order up your ass. Stick it way out of 99%. Stick it way out of 99%. Stick it way out of 90. Together we are 90. We are 99%. We don't be arrested in a dressing gown.
On Shiga.
We don't be arrested in a dressing gown.
On Shiga.
We don't be arrested in a she is such a sailor. We are arrested in a dressing gown. And we'll be singing we're the 99%. We'll be singing we're the 99%. We'll be singing we're the 90. Together we are 90. We'll be singing we're the 99%. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails and their evil landfills. Blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. You can stick your poison vaccine up your ass. You can stick your TV programs up your ass. You can stick your GMO food, and we ain't gonna no school. Stick your coca capsules up your ass. Stick it way out of 99%. Stick it way out of 99%. Stick it way out of 90. Together we're 90. Way out of 99%. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human. And don't you know that you can? I'd rather be a human than a slave. You can stick your new world order up your ass.
Up your ass.
You can stick your new world order up your ass.
Up your ass. Sun don't shine but order. Stick your new world order up your ass.